Hey y'all, so this weekend I did the Conyers Book Festival. And this is my third year doing the festival. A friend of mine did it and told me about it and said, hey, you need to be here. So I did it like 3 years ago for the first time, and it was very good. It was a 1 day event in downtown Conyers, Old Conyers. The event is hosted by the Bookseller, which is a black woman owned bookstore in Conyers. Very cool people there, very active on social media. You may have already seen them before. So I showed up there, it was outside. We had to bring our own tent, our own tables and stuff like that. But I did very well. I sold 60 books, which for me, for 1 day, is great. That's what I usually sell. No, I don't usually sell that on a weekend or the small con. Sometimes when you weekend on a small con, if I do 30 and 40 for 2 days, that's great. But I did 60 that first year in 1 day. So I returned the next year, set up same scenario, old downtown Conyers. I sold 30 books that time. It wasn't as many as before, but still for 1 day it was good. It was a good day. So this year I decided to return again. They did some different things. They changed the venue. Instead of having it in the outdoors in Old Town Conyers, they had it at the Georgia Equestrian Center, which was a pretty good ways away from the original spot. And they also they provided tables for us and chairs, which was cool. So I mean, I didn't have to bring as much stuff. And they added some stuff to it. They were doing panels. They had some special guests. So they're basically growing the event. They are adding more things going on there. So got up early that morning, drove out to it, and when I started going to the event center, I started getting a little nervous. I'm like, hey, this place is not like in the middle of everything. This is kind of away from everything. So, when you're doing a festival and it's in a downtown area, you're going to get people coming to the festival anyway, but you're going to probably get some people that are driving by and they see stuff going on and say, hey, let me go check this out, so you probably get some people from there. So I'm saying to myself, well, I hope they really marketed this well, because this has got to be a destination. People have to be coming here for this event. You're not going to get any drive-by people and stuff like that. Have to be coming here for it. So, we got there. They had a big warehouse area that we would set up in, open to the open to the outdoors, which this weekend was challenging because in Atlanta it got up almost to 90 degrees that day. But imagine us being outside on the street in downtown Conyers in that same temperature, and it would have been something else. But at least we're in an area that was shaded and had fans, and they kept everything circulating. So my wife went with me, of course, and we set up our table and stuff like that. And in the beginning, I was kind of nervous because I was like, man, we're getting started and it's kind of slow. But that's usual how most cons are. If you've ever done cons or festivals, they usually set up about 10 o'clock, but you're not really going to start seeing any traffic till around about noon. And then that's going to go to from like noon to maybe 3 o'clock. Then it's going to die down a little bit. And then those last couple of hours, maybe around 4 or 5 or something like that, it'll pick back up again right before things shut down. That's usually the pattern that I've noticed over the years and stuff like that. But around about 11:30, the traffic really picked up, and it got really good. Now the challenge that I had is that we were on a wall away from the center area, and most of the traffic was happening in that center area. I mean, that's just the way the traffic pattern was. So those first few sales, we had to work for them. I mean, I had to basically, call people over to my table. I do something like I say, invite people to come to my table, because you'll see people walking by sometimes and they're looking at your books and they're staring at them really hard. And all it takes sometimes when they're doing that is just to look at that person and say, hey, come over, check it out. And they will come over. It's almost like they're waiting for you to invite them over. And I was doing a lot of that in the beginning. But as the crowd started to pick up, we started getting more and more people coming our way. We never were really in the center of attention, or center where the traffic flow was, but we got enough traffic, and it was good enough for us to really do things well. Had a really good, ended up with a good day. We sold 40 books on Saturday, which was right in between my first year and my second year. I have no complaints. Did really well. The event was well organized. You can tell that the organizers, the people that are the bookseller, are planning on this to grow. And I think over a period of time, this is going to become one of your major literary book festivals in the city of the metro Atlanta area. They're growing in the right way. The main authors that they had, the celebrity authors, Beverly Jenkins was the one that I knew. I had a chance to go peek into her event as it was shutting down, and she had a long line of people waiting to get their book signed, which is like, really good for the con, for the festival and for her, because book signings are kind of like touch and go. But yeah, everything turned out really well. I have no complaints on it. Well, I do have one complaint in the fact that the Wi-Fi was not very good out there. I mean, nobody was really getting a good signal. It could have worked. It could have helped for if people had Wi-Fi boosters. As a matter of fact, myself, if I attend again next year, I'm probably going to bring one with me. The cool thing about using devices like Square that we use to run the credit cards is that it's set up to where it can actually take offline orders. What it does is that you'll ring it up, you have the person sign it, and then when the Wi-Fi starts working again, or when you get to a place where the Wi-Fi does work, it will go ahead and complete the transaction. So we were able to continue to accept credit cards and stuff, and app phones and watches and everything else until the system got back up running and stuff like that. And plus, there were people who paid cash as well, so I always bring change for that. So overall, I would say as an author, if you live in the Metro Atlanta area, the Conyers Book Fair is something to put on your list. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when you go there, and you will sell nice quantities of books. I've been there 3 years in a row, and like I said, every year I've done well. I think as a reader, the Conyers Book Festival is a good place to go because you have a wide variety of authors there. You had me with my science fiction and fantasy. You had people with children's books. You had people with, life encounter books, urban fiction books. Just about every type of book you can think of, you had an author represented there. So if you're a reader, I think it would be a good place to go. And also the fact that now that they're bringing in celebrity authors that are doing presentations and book signings, and they're having panels and stuff like that, kind of expands the things to do. They also had stuff set up for the kids to do. They had food trucks there, so it would be a good day out, and especially for someone who's into reading and stuff. And it's all, and like I said, it's stuff for the kids to do as well. Authors for the books for the kids as well. So if you haven't been there before, put it on your list. I might be back next year. I'm not sure. I'm looking at changing some of my venues that I've been doing a few years in a row because people come and they get used to you, and they bought so many of your books that you don't move as many books. Oh yeah, and that's the one thing I forgot to add. This was a this was a confidence booster for me because I met a number of people who had read some of my books and enjoyed them. I had people who had purchased books from me previously, and they saw me set up there, and they came to get books to purchase more books. And as an indie author, you get out there, you do a good job selling. People will buy your books once, and then you wonder, okay, if they like my book, will they come back? And this was a confidence booster because I had so many people who had purchased my books before, either directly from me or at other events or offline and stuff like that. And they saw us and they recognized us and they came to purchase more books. So that, lets me know that everything that we've been doing, like being here talking to you guys, doing our different events, it's making a difference. It's building our brand. And the overall consensus is that we have a good brand, and we sell books that people want to read and they want to come back and read more. So that's the thing I forgot to say. But anyway, like I said, the Conyers Book Festival was successful. If you've never been before, put it on your calendar for next year, either if you're an author or a reader, and I think you'll have a good time. Take care. Peace.